Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for tuning back in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Leila, the Lenormand reader, and I use the amazing Lenormand deck. Download your starter guide so you can get to know this deck and eventually master it. Welcome to a new weekly reading. We've got Titania's deck today, and we are going to be doing a pyramid layout. So let's go ahead and start with you, Aries. Let's deal out your cards and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Aries, here is your pyramid. It's looking pretty bright. Even though most cards are mostly neutral, we have some bright energies that come through the child and heart. And we have these cards here, the road, stork, and ship, that are travel cards. So we're looking at change and a new beginning and a beautiful energy that comes from that. The child is potentially also a card of children, so this can apply in your context. Now, the child, road, and tower points to a new path, a new direction, a new journey that opens up for you. The tower can mean that you're leaving the past behind and moving on. And it could also point to forgiveness with the child and the idea of letting go and turning the page. But the tower is also about the long term in general. So not just in the past, but also possibly in the future. So when we see it after the road, it's possible, Aries, that you are in for a longer term phase through this new chapter. It's also a message for you to keep your eyes on the long-term picture, the long-term goals, and your life as a whole. So these are lovely energies that help you turn the page and move into a new beginning. The stork and heart is lovely for excitement, for happiness. They are cards that bring about welcome change. The stork is very much a card of change and movement and activity. And with the heart, this is exciting to you. And it's also an encouragement for you to pursue things that you love. The ship is another card of journeys, just like the road, and it can also point to physical travel. So maybe you're going someplace new or possibly reconnecting with a place from the past. And if it's not about physical travel, Aries, that's totally fine. The ship is very flexible. It points to a journey and a direction. And essentially, it is a card of movement. So it does encourage you to move forward. And in fact, all three cards, along with the child, encourage you to move forward. So while they are peaceful and easy cards, they're also pretty active. So keep that in mind. The tower with the heart and ship is lovely here for a longer term journey and possibly also reconnecting with a place from the past. It's also potentially building on something that you'd been creating over the longer term. And it's certainly lovely to see the heart between them because it tells us that you are pursuing things that you love and that you are on the right track. So really nice cards. The child with the stork and ship is potentially a big move. Often the stork and ship points to migration, moving countries and those sorts of changes. Now, of course, this is not going to apply to every single Aries out there, and there are different ways of reading the cards, but that's just a possibility. The child is also about new beginnings. So obviously you're heading in a new direction and all of it is looking exciting. In terms of travel, physical travel, you could be making a big move or you could be exploring a place. But in general, Aries, these are lovely cards for positive changes, new beginnings, and pursuing things that you enjoy. Now, the cards don't tell us if this is in your life in general or in a specific area of your life. In terms of work, you could be looking at a new job, a new project, some improvements. In terms of relationships, we're not really seeing people cards, but in terms of relationships, it's very much about a new relationship that's looking really hopeful and, enjoyable. I feel that the cards are affecting your life more broadly, more generally. So you let me know in the comments, Aries, how you resonate with these cards and what is this new beginning that you're hopefully embracing. As always, I look forward to your comments. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Taurus, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's draw your pyramid and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Taurus, these are some really nice cards for a relationship, an agreement, possibly a contract. Notice the beautiful star at the top here. This is an all-around card of wish fulfillment, healing, and happiness. So you're very likely to achieve some important goals for yourself. The tree and anchor, along with the woman, these are really great cards for a solid relationship. They clearly tell you to stick with this person and to nurture this relationship. And it does sound like this is someone who is supportive, trustworthy, and someone you can rely on. Now, because of the ring and letter, These two cards, they point to an agreement or a contract of sorts. It sounds like this relationship leads to this understanding that we see through the ring and letter. And with the star at the top, it clearly tells us that there's a very positive conclusion. This agreement is something that you want. You're on the same page, and there are some really positive vibes here between you and this person and with this agreement. The woman with the letter and star is some very good news, very similar to what we saw. And the tree, ring, and star is very beautiful for the relationship or the commitment that we see through the ring. So anyway, we look at these cards, Taurus, they are very bright across the board. They suggest a supportive relationship, a positive understanding, an agreement, and all of it or any of it is very much aligned with your hopes and your goals. So really nice cards and very straightforward. Now, the cards can be personal, they can be work-related, they could be family, or really any other part of your life. We don't see the theme or the life area in the cards as such, but the same idea would apply in any context. So, for example, these are great for a relationship, for a deepening connection. They're great for a job, a contract, or some kind of agreement in any other part of your life. Any way you look at them, they are bright. So very straightforward and very nice and peaceful. I would just say, Taurus, in terms of advice to take away from the reading is to be supportive as much as this person is supportive to you, and also to give things time if they need a bit of time. There's no need to pressure anything. There's no need to try to be roundabout with anything. Things are in process, and I think you have some transparency into this at least, and they are on track. Let me know what you make of these lovely cards, Taurus. I hope you resonate with them in these positive ways. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Gemini, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's deal out your pyramid and see what is in store for you. Okay, Gemini, here is your pyramid layout. It's looking really bright, mainly because of the lovely clover. The clover is one of the luckiest cards. It can be a little bit unpredictable, but it still brings a lot of luck. We see it with the fish and lily. These are likely business cards, and we have the dog and man, which is a relationship. So this is looking like it's focused on a work relationship, a professional relationship, a business collaboration, or similar practical areas of your life. That's the most likely focus. We have the dog, clover, and lily. These are great for your work and career, or even your relationships in general. The dog and clover brings luck, and the lily suggests that it affects your work and your career, but also your life path in general. So this is looking like a really positive influence. The fish and man can be a business person or a businessman, and it can represent a collaboration, again, building on the dog. It could also represent someone who's wealthy or who has, some kind of influence on your situation. The thing about the road at the top is that the road can go both ways. It can mean a parting, but because of the beautiful clover and the lily, it suggests that you go down a certain path with this person. So it looks like this is an opportunity that opens up for you. And even though we're not really seeing a firm conclusion to this relationship just yet, Gemini, it does sound like you would be on the right track to explore it, at least, to see what comes out of it. The lily with the man and road, again, it's a similar idea of giving this person a chance and going down this road with them, and probably for some time, because the lily is a card of, it takes more time. And the dog, fish, and road is great for a customer, a business collaboration, a partner, and other positive prospects with work, money, and business in relation to this person. So because of the clover, it makes the whole reading positive and hopeful. Without it, it could have been more on the neutral side. But the clover is an all-around happy card. And again, like I said, it's a little bit unpredictable. So things might not, pan out in the way that you have in mind, Gemini, but just keep an open mind. And certainly the road is very much about, being open and adventurous and so forth. So these are really good cards for a prospect in your work and your business, a potentially good relationship with probably some benefits for you business-wise. Now, in terms of a personal relationship, I have to say, Gemini, that the fish tends to be more on the physical side of things. But it's still a positive relationship, and it looks like you give it a chance, or you explore the potential of this relationship, whether it's personal or business or in some other practical area of your life. So I hope this resonates with you positively, Gemini. I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Let me know who this person was, what the opportunity was. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Cancer, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's draw your pyramid and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Cancer, here is your pyramid. It is quite interesting because we have a sharp contrast between the flowers and star, which are very bright cards, and the coffin and mouse, which are challenging. They are not the most challenging cards, but they point to an ending. So let's see what this is about. We have the tower with the flowers and coffin. Now, because of the order of the cards, we are looking at an ending. We wrap up the line with the coffin. The tower and flowers is a combination that I often take to mean forgiveness. And so when we see with the coffin here, we could be looking at a release, a letting go, forgiving and forgetting and moving on. Normally, the flowers, which suggest something coming back into the picture. But because of the coffin here, we're seeing an ending. So it takes on a bit of a different meaning. And it suggests that there's a sense of release and forgiveness and the willingness to move on. So this could be quite bright in this sense that, you're about to be relieved from something that has wrapped up and that you need to get past now. The letter and mouse is a bit of a bad news or challenging news, depressing news, annoying news, things like that. And it could also point to paperwork that doesn't go through, issues that are dragging and things like that. And I bring up this paperwork element because we have the tower. The tower is a card of a lot of things, but it can also mean things like administrative matters, legal things, official things like that. So when we see it with the letter, it can bring up paperwork, procedures, processes that you're following up on. Now, the mouse is a little bit annoying. And I think because of the coffin and mouse, there could be something that doesn't work out. At the same time, we have the beautiful star at the top, and the star is an all-around happy card. It is one of the brightest cards, and it points to wish fulfillment. So the idea of letting go and dropping something could be really relieving to you, Cancer, and it might be a good idea for you to just drop something and move on, and it's going to be just fine. Whatever this thing is, like I said, this could be legal, admin things, but it doesn't have to. It could be any number of things. It depends on your situation. Now, here's another hint about this. We have the coffin with the mouse into the star. So if something isn't going anywhere, you should just draw the line and move on. And this can prove to be really relieving to you, Cancer. The tower with the letter and star, though, is some really good news and some really positive outcomes here. So whether it is something that does work out or something that you drop, either way, it is a good idea to draw a line at this point. I think the reading is tending more towards an ending and letting go. But there is a chance that you're able to finally wrap something up and move on. And that too is a really good message, Cancer. In all cases and in all scenarios, I think the flowers and star here, what they're really telling you is to take things with a bit more lightness and to avoid being sucked into the negativity of the situation. I have to say also, Cancer, that the cards are flexible in terms of what context they apply in. If this is work or something like, this admin stuff that we're talking about, other sorts of things you need to do. We're not really seeing relationships, but of course they can be implicated if that applies for you. The idea is that you're able to let go of something, let go of expectations, stop investing yourself in it, and you are going to feel relieved of it as a result. So whether it's a sharp ending or a completion, I'm going to leave that up to you, up to your specific situation, but realize that you have a choice now and you could wrap things up and draw a close, and this is definitely for the better. So let me know what you make of these interesting cards, Cancer. I certainly look forward to your feedback, how you resonated with them, if you're willing to share. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Leo, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's draw your pyramid and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Leo, here is your pyramid. It's quite an interesting spread. It's a little bit challenging, but I think the focus is going to be mostly on how you go about making a decision. And the reason I say that is because it looks like there's an offer or some kind of opportunity that comes up. So it's going to be about weighing things out and deciding if this works out for you. So looking at the bottom row, you can see we have the Road, Bird, and Rider. All three cards are movement cards. They point to movement, activity, and the short-term type of movement. You could be running errands, doing things, and going after your day-to-day business. It's certainly a combination for being active, so it encourages you to move ahead with your projects. Now, another way we can read these cards, and this is what ties into what I just said about weighing out an offer, is the Bird and Rider. The Bird is a card of communication and negotiation, and the Rider is a messenger and often someone helpful. So when we see these two cards together, you could receive news or there could be a conversation moving forward in a certain direction. Now, the Tower and Clouds is a little bit challenging. The Clouds mainly brings up challenges and doubts in the sense of a more inner psychological kind of sense. So you could be having some question marks or be confused about certain aspects of what's going on here. The Tower is a layered card and it can mean a few things, but in the context of these doubts here, it can suggest the authority or the office or the manager that you are negotiating with regards to this. You could also be having doubts about this environment as a whole, and you could also be questioning how good this is for the longer term or the bigger picture. Now, the Moon at the top is a gentle card. It is a soft kind of card that is kind and that suggests compassion and things like that. So if you're having doubts, Leo, it's a good idea not to be too reactive and to take it easy and to figure things out. The Moon is also a card of offers and appreciation, so it does align with this idea of an invitation or a negotiation that you could be heading into. Now, the Rider with the Clouds and Moon brings up the doubts a bit more because the Clouds highlights the dark side of the Moon. So it's a good idea to ask questions and seek answers and to pursue any clarification that you can get, Leo, at this point. So there's no need to bottle things up or to dwell in the doubt. You can just ask and find out. The Road with the Tower and Moon is a nice message here. It does point to a sense of stability and predictability over the longer term, and it does suggest pursuing a forward movement. Now, I'm not so sure this has to do with the new offer or the proposal. I do think it's worth taking more time to understand what this is about or what this invitation or proposal is about. But also what I'm seeing, Leo, is that you want to stick with what you know works. You want to stick with what you're doing. So if the offer builds on that, then it could be in alignment with you. But if the offer or the ideas here are going to veer you away from your path, then I would have some doubts around this. So again, there's this assessment and this thought and consideration that you ought to give this invitation or this proposal before moving forward. And you always have access to asking questions or the right person here, or possibly even someone expert, because a Tower can be someone like that, to ask the questions. So it's a good idea to keep this in mind. And it's certainly a good idea, Leo, not to rush into any decisions. Take it easy, ask the questions, have a thought through this, consider things, and take your time with it. You don't have to rush into anything. And if it feels off, then it feels off, and that is totally fine. You don't have to feel pressured. You don't have to feel rushed. Stick with the current path and with clarity, and things should fit around this. It shouldn't move you away from what you know is right. It should fit around it. Now, the cards are flexible in the sense that they don't really tell us if this is at work, with money, home, family, a personal relationship. It could be any of these. The ideas are the same. But let's consider a couple of possibilities here, because they can, the cards can be a little bit different here. In terms of work, this is definitely about negotiating an opportunity and finding out about it more and understanding its implications. In terms of a relationship, it could be a little bit bumpy, but the relationship is certainly on a stable footing. So maybe it's a good time to talk through certain things, ask questions, and seek to clarify certain matters. And the moon is really gentle in this sense, and it could really help move the relationship forward. So there can be a few issues here in a relationship, but overall, it is on a sound footing, and it is on a secure situation. So let me know what you make of these ideas, Leo. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Let me know how it played out for you and in what context. I'd be curious if you're willing to share. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Virgo, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's go ahead and deal out your cards and see what is in store for you. Okay, Virgo, here is your pyramid. And clearly there's a focus on a relationship because we have both the man and woman together. The key is very bright and these are pretty active. So it sounds like it's a really good relationship here with positive events or a positive vibe between the two of you. Now, the ship with the road and key can point to a trip or a change or a journey that you open up to at this time. The key is certainly encouraging and it is like a signal or a green light for you to go ahead with this journey. It can also be a physical trip, so you could be traveling. This too can bring answers and some interesting ideas to you. The Stork and Woman is an active combination that suggests events or activities with this person, and we have something similar through the Stork and Man. So whether it's the man and woman here or at the top, it really just focuses on the relationship. So whether it's the man or the woman in this position or at the top, it focuses on the relationship. So it's very clear that you are going places or doing things or exploring options with this person. The key with the woman and man is lovely for the relationship. It's very reassuring and it suggests a really good connection and some really good prospects and steps moving forward. And the ship, Stork and Man can actually point to travel, even long-term travel or big moves. Now, this is not common, and I usually need more cards or context to suggest that. But the ship and stork certainly suggest activities and things picking up with this person. Like we saw in the bottom row, there could be travel, activities, and in all cases, there is like a push forward and some really positive activities. So these are great cards for a relationship, for doing things with this person, going places, exploring options, or doing things together. And I have to say, Virgo, that the cards are flexible in the sense that whether this relationship is personal or at work or in some other context, regardless of the situation or the theme or the context, these are really good cards for the relationship. In a personal relationship, maybe you are going places together, spending time together, and the relationship is deepening. In terms of work, you could be getting an opportunity or a collaboration here, and similar ideas in any other context. So really nice cards for a relationship. Obviously, the takeaway, Virgo, is that you focus on this person this week and you make time for doing things with them and enjoy this activity. So take it as a green light and move ahead. Let me know what you make of these ideas. If you're willing to share who this person was, I'd be interested to know. Very best of luck with the week, Virgo. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Libra, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's draw your pyramid and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Libra, here is your pyramid, and I think the cards speak for themselves. It's pretty obvious what's going on here. First, there are quite a few challenging cards, and there is a person, and we have the snake at the top. Obviously, there is someone whom you need to remove from your life or move away from. Now, who this person is flexible. We don't see from these cards if it is at work or in a certain or in your personal life, but the house gives us a clue that it could be someone who's within a closer circle, maybe within your home, your family, or even your team on the job. The bottom row is very clear. We have both the whip and scythe together, and this is essentially the most challenging pair of the whole deck. Earlier, we have the flowers, which tells us that you might have had some hopes, or you initially thought this was a good relationship. But the whip and scythe clearly suggests that there are challenges and problems that come up. Now, the man and house, like I just said, can represent or can give us a clue about who this person is. The house usually suggests home, family, the team, or groups, usually people in a closer circle around you. So the man can be someone in such a situation. And the snake at the top is a card of deception. It is quite toxic when it comes to relationships and is definitely someone you need to avoid. I would have suggested that it points to diplomacy or managing the situation well. And this is probably part of the picture. It's good advice. But considering the whip and scythe, Libra, these are some very challenging cards, and they clearly suggest that you need to move away from this person. Now, the scythe and snake on either side of the house really support this. This is like a breakaway and moving away from this environment where this person is. So you're looking at avoiding this person. And then the flowers with the man and snake clearly suggest that this is someone who is just a charmer and someone who is fake. So when we have the flowers and snake, and yes, they're not immediately adjacent, but they're still pretty close, and they are on either side of the person card, this tells us that this person is fake, not genuine, and probably out to, for their own interests. And it's a bit stronger than that. They're more on the selfish side of things. And also, Libra, the whip and scythe and the whip and snake and the snake and scythe, these can all represent the snake bite. So the snake is normally quiet, but there are times when the snake bites. And these are cards that bring out this energy. So this could be a time or a week where something comes up with this person. There is a confrontation or an argument. And I think you're going to see who they are, and you're going to want to avoid them and draw a line. So this can be a little bit challenging, but it's certainly in your best interest, Libra, to be aware and to take appropriate action. And like I said, the context it's flexible here. It could be someone within your home, your friend circle, or in another circle or space in your life. I hope this is going to be easy for you to handle, and I hope you're going to be quick to spot this and move away, Libra. Let me know your thoughts. I look forward to your feedback. Let me know who this person is if you're willing to share. I'm always curious for how you resonate with the cards. So very best of luck with this. Let me know how it goes. Again, thank you for tuning in as always, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Scorpio, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's draw your pyramid and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Scorpio, here is your pyramid, and it's looking a bit challenging because we have the snake and scythe. When we see the snake and scythe together, the snake is no longer that quiet, discreet energy. Instead, it's more about a bite. We do have the dog in the cards, which can represent a relationship. Well, it does. It's normally a friend, a colleague, a sibling, or someone sort of at your level. And immediately this diagonal stands out. Of all of the lines, this is a pretty sharp combination, and it's a clear interpretation here that this is someone whom you have to separate from because they're kind of toxic, or something happens that causes you to change your mind. Now, earlier though, at the bottom, we have the tree, anchor, and dog. And these are very solid cards, Scorpio. They point to stability and a sense of strength and connection. So this tells us that you've given this relationship a chance. And maybe you should, giving it a bit of time or the right time. The rider and scythe is very much a change of direction. And it is also pretty sudden and quick. And when we see the snake at the top, it tells us that something happens that turns around the situation and that causes you to draw a line. Now, the snake being toxic when it comes to relationship tells us that the issue is personal. Why do I say that? So the scenario could have been that something comes up and you can't be with this person right now, or, you were planning on spending time together or doing things together, but something comes up and it causes a change of plans. I'm not so sure this is what's happening. It's possible, but because the snake is quite toxic, I'm not so sure. Instead, the snake brings up this toxic aspect. And like we see in this strong diagonal, Scorpio, the scythe and snake is a bite, and it's usually painful and upsetting. And so with the dog, it's clear that there could be an issue in the relationship. The tree with the rider and then the snake, it's not as sharp as the scythe, but the rider does pick up the pace and it's kind of speedy. And with the snake here, there is a moving away. Again, the tree tells us that maybe you were waiting for the right time, or maybe it did not feel like things were going to head this way, but unfortunately they do. I have to say though that apart from the change that we see with the snake and scythe, I feel that you're going to be quick to catch this and to make a decision. So good for you, Scorpio. And I don't feel there's a lot of drama. I think there's just a sharp decision here where you see that this is not working out, or something comes up and it causes you to realize that maybe this person is not what you thought they were, and you're going to be quick to draw a line. So this is great for your personal protection. And it's also great for having that sense of foresight. I also want to add, Scorpio, that the cards don't really tell us in what context this is figuring who the dog is. It could be a personal relationship like a friend or, someone like that. It could even be closer to home, like family. It could be a colleague. It could be a partner or someone who offers you a service like a nurse, a doctor, or an accountant, people like that. So who the dog is and in what context this figures is flexible. You can let me know in the comments if you're willing to share. So very best of luck with this, Scorpio. I hope you're going to be on top of this and you're going to be quick to turn around. Let me know how it goes. Thank you as always for tuning in. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Sagittarius, welcome to a weekly reading. Let's draw your pyramid and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Sagittarius, here is your pyramid. It's quite an interesting spread. Obviously, it's going to be positive because of the beautiful sun at the top, especially at the top. It's like the sun shines its light, through the whole pyramid. Earlier, we have some challenging cards. They're not very dramatic, but they do bring up a bit of tension, a bit of worries, and some concerns here. So let's build it from the ground up. We have the moon and book along with the clouds. This is often a combination for an offer. And the thing about the clouds is that you might think about it, or there are issues with it that you don't really like. So it's something that you take away and you think about. It is also likely that you are bottling up these doubts and questions. Now, the coffin with the bird is another interesting line. It's nice to see the bird on this side. Here's why. Because the coffin can mean that you take your time. And that's a good thing. Take your time, think about this. But with the bird, you need to open up. You need to ask questions and be vocal, express yourself, find out what you need to find out. And this builds nicely on top of the clouds, especially with the book, which is normally closed and points to things that are not known. So it sounds like you're stressing out about something and you're not sure about it. But then the bird helps you vocalize your question marks, your doubts, in order to resolve these issues that you have instead of keeping them inside and dwelling on them or staying stuck with them. The cards are inviting you to open up. And it's really nice to see the sun at the top because it is a card of light and enlightenment. So it's very good with bringing light to the situation and enlightening you with answers. The thing is that it's on you, Sagittarius, to seek these answers. So if you need time to sleep on it, to chew over it, that's fine. But don't spend forever in this and don't reach a point where it's stressing you out. You need answers, go get them. Ask questions and you'll find that you have a lot of assurance and positive answers that help you resolve any of these doubts. So these are some really nice cards. There's a really nice progression through the lines. And I want to backtrack a little bit. I said initially that the moon and book is an offer, and that may well be that. But there can be other things also that you are contemplating or thinking about. So what I mean to say is that it's not necessarily an offer or an invitation. It can be some other things that are on your mind and weighing on you. And then you have to reach a point where you're done chewing on this, Sagittarius, and you're going to go out and find answers. And as soon as you do, it's like things open up and it's definitely the light at the end of the tunnel. And there's like a sense of enlightenment here. So really nice cards. The clouds with the bird and sun certainly support this. The clouds and bird are very much about worry and anxiety and just being nervous and chewing on this. But again, the sun being a healing card and a card of light, it really lifts this off. The moon with the coffin suggests an ending or a phase where nothing was happening, or it was like a dormant phase. And the sun really brings this out and it shines its light. So it sounds like you needed a time to go within or to just spend time with this, but then there's going to be a point where you need to come out of it, Sagittarius, and it's going to feel really good. These are really nice cards. Now, I have to say that normally the moon and sun often suggest a love or a love relationship. And that's because of the archetypal association with the fundamental feminine and the fundamental masculine. So this could be about a relationship. Now, I'm not really inclined to see it this way, but for some of you Sagittarians out there, it's possible. Now, in case it's a relationship, you know, I'm of two minds with this, because we have the sun and moon on either side of the coffin, and at the same time we have the sun at the top. So there's a couple of scenarios that are possible, and you can let me know in the comments if you resonate with either one or which one. One is that perhaps you need to end a relationship, and this could be really liberating. And the other one is that there could have been a time apart, and finally there's communication that brings you back together. So depending on your specific circumstance, the cards can go in these different directions. But in general, we are seeing a beautiful message for enlightenment and openness after a time when you were bottling things inside of yourself and feeling a bit stuck with it to the point that it's causing you a bit of nervousness. So do reach a point, Sagittarius, where if you want to vocalize, then do that. Don't keep yourself stuck. You can find answers and you could reach a point of much assurance. Apart from this relationship possibility that comes through the moon and sun, Sagittarius, the cards can apply in different contexts. They could apply in a situation at work, in a situation in a relationship, or in some other part of your life. The same dynamic applies. You could be bottling up some thoughts, and at some point you have to vocalize and express them. And as soon as you do, there's going to be like a relief and something that lifts up. So very unique set of cards. I've never come across something like that, I have to say, before. So that's quite an opportunity to read them, and quite an honor to read them for you, Sagittarius. Let me know what you made of this and how you resonated with these cards. I look forward to your thoughts and feedback if you're willing to share. Best of luck. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Capricorn, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's go ahead and deal out your cards and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Capricorn, here's an interesting set of cards. We do have the snake, which is normally a bit challenging, but we also have the beautiful star at the top, which is a card of wish fulfillment. So definitely there's a very positive progression here towards materializing your goals or having things work out in the way that you want. We also have the woman, which represents a person that's very flexible. It depends on the situation in your life. But usually the man and woman represent people who are closer to us. So let's get into these lines. We have the moon with the snake and cross. Now, the moon being usually a card of offer, invitations, I have some question marks when I see it with the snake. This could be something misleading, Capricorn. It could be something that is not right for you. It could be deceptive. In fact, the snake is very much a card of deception. The cross is very much about evaluating things and assessing things, and I think you're going to make the right decision for you. Now, I'm not really seeing the idea of turning something down versus accepting it in these cards, but I am seeing the star at the top, which tells us that whatever decision you make, it's going to be the right one for you. Something else that we see in these cards or in this line is that you might need to make a certain sacrifice, or you might need to be patient or bear with a difficult situation until things work out, and things do work out. The thing about the snake is that it is silent. So with the cross and moon, it sounds like you keep it to yourself, and it could weigh a little bit on you, Capricorn. So you're still carrying a few burdens here. Now, the road and woman can suggest a couple of things. You could either move away from someone, and this is possible with the snake, but it could also be that someone comes. So the road is a card of coming and going. Usually with relationships, it tends to be a bit more flighty, because the road card does not like to be anchored. It does not like commitment. So it tends to be about separations. And we have the snake. So it is very possible that you have to make a decision about a person, move away from this person, and maybe distance yourself. Alternatively, Capricorn, there can be some support that you get from this person with regards to the bottom row. Because we have the star at the top and we have this line here that proves to be a supportive relationship. So I think that's the more likely interpretation, that you have someone supportive whom you can go to and who helps pull you away from the situation here. The cross with the woman and star is lovely for a relationship. The cross can be a little bit heavy, but it can also suggest that things are meant to be. And so this person, you want to pay attention to what this person is bringing you, because they could help guide you. And the star is very supportive in this way. The moon with the road and star is another message that tells us that you're going to make the right decision, Capricorn. So give it a bit of time, weigh things out, bear with it a little bit, even if it's a bit heavy, and you will find that things move and turn in the right direction, and actually in a really bright direction. Now, I have to say, Capricorn, the cards don't tell us at all in what situation this is figuring. If this is about work, money, home, family, a friend, or some other person in your life. We're really not seeing that in these cards. We're just seeing the dynamic where there could be a choice and a bit of a tricky situation here, possibly something deceptive that you're waiting to see how it plays out, and then you're going to get someone's support to pull you in the right direction. And I think you're already aligned with that direction. I just think you could attract someone who is supportive in contrast with the situation in the bottom line. So let me know what you make of these interesting cards, Capricorn. I'd be really interested to know in what context this figured for you, who this woman is, and what this situation in the bottom with the snake and cross and moon is about, if you're willing to share. So very best of luck with the week. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Aquarius, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's go ahead and draw your cards and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Aquarius, here is your pyramid, and it's a bit of a balance that you're striking this week. We do have a person card with a couple of complicated cards, the clouds and the fox. These are a bit tricky, but we also have the flowers and the garden. The bear at the top is a card of power and strength, and it sounds like you're going to be able to manage the situation. But this person is not looking like the easiest of persons to deal with, and the situation that you're involved with with them is also a bit tricky. So when we see the clouds, garden, and woman, this is clearly a meeting with this person or a certain environment where you see this person or are with this person, and there can be issues that come up. It can feel complicated. It can also feel like there are things that are not clear. And that's really well justified, Aquarius, because in the next row here, we have the fox and flowers. I often take this combination to suggest someone who is shallow and someone who is a bit false to your face. Now, it's not as toxic as when you have the snake, but the fox is still someone who is selfish and self-interested and, has their own agenda. So behind this cover of kindness, I just want to alert you that not everyone might be genuine or 100% authentic all of the time. So just keep that in mind. In another sense, Aquarius, the fox and flowers could be encouraging you to maintain that kind of facade, which makes sense as well in view of the bottom row, where we have the clouds and garden, and it sounds like it's an environment that's not exactly the most positive space, or you have doubts about it. But the fox and flowers would invite you to maintain a proper facade and to just keep things nice, as it were. Now, the bear at the top is quite nice. It is a card of power and strength. So this could be a means to an end, where the bear empowers you or enables you to grow or achieve a certain level. It's also possible, Aquarius, that the bear represents people of influence and authority whom you are trying to tap into for any of your goals. That is possible. Now, the woman with the flowers and bear is a lovely line. It is the brightest line of your pyramid here, and it points to some very positive steps forward with this person. You could get their support. It's also a great card for creativity, and it's probably going to be well received. The clouds with the fox and bear, though, is quite different. This can warn you against someone who is playing against you, possibly competition. Sometimes the bear can be an outright enemy, but I don't have these strong cards. Instead, it's more like competition and someone who could be a bit, a bit envious and trying to win against you. So when we compare, this side of the pyramid with this one, there's quite a bit of contrast. And I think this is where the fox and flowers comes in. So they could be supportive. They could be useful, and you could get something out of them. But I still think, Aquarius, that you need to manage this relationship carefully and appreciate that not everything that you see or hear from this person is what it is. Okay, so just maintain a healthy dose of skepticism, maintain diplomacy and a kind behavior, and see what you can manage out of this relationship. Now, the cards can apply in different contexts. One of them is work, because we have the fox, and in the context of work, the bear can represent a manager. So obviously managers are people whom you need to deal with carefully. They could also be any other person really with a sense of dominance and influence on your work. So again, it pays to be careful and tactful and, maintaining a good facade with people. In terms of personal relationships, something sort of similar happens, but the fox is not great for personal relationships. And I'm not so sure this is a warm and authentic relationship, Aquarius. You might want to maintain a good distance, to keep things easy, and also so that you are on top of the situation. So these are just a couple of examples. The same dynamic can apply in different relationships, in different contexts in your life, Aquarius. Why don't you let me know in the comments which one it was for you? If you want to, send me a question, I'd be happy to answer it. As always, I appreciate your feedback and how you resonate with the cards. So very best of luck with this, Aquarius. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Pisces, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's go ahead and deal out your pyramid and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Pisces, this is quite an amazing pyramid. This is really interesting. Obviously, with the snake and scythe and close to a man, we have a difficult situation with this person, and it's probably looking at a separation. And it's probably looking at a separation because of the snake and scythe. The bottom row, though, is really positive. We have the clover and star, and these are two very bright cards. The clover can be a little bit unpredictable, but it's still lucky. And the star is all around wish fulfillment and healing. And on top of this, we have the anchor, which is a really solid card, and it creates a very strong foundation for you. This is a great line for having confidence in yourself, for standing your ground. And when I see it in contrast with these top three cards, where we obviously have someone you need to get rid of, you definitely want to have good boundaries, say no, and probably exclude them from your life, from your situation, or from whatever it is you're doing. So this could be quite powerful and empowering. Like I said, the snake and scythe is very much a bite. It's even potentially danger. So let me put this out there, Pisces. You need to be aware that there could be someone who is playing against you. And he seems to be quite toxic because of the snake and scythe. It could be a bite, actually. Normally, the snake is quiet, but the scythe can bring out the bite. So just be aware of this person. Now, I have to also say, Pisces, that you could be the one who is biting here, where you are drawing a line against this person. That too is possible. Now, the star with the scythe and man can mean a few different things, but in keeping with the dominant interpretation here, a break away from this person is the right thing to do. So the star really empowers you to release this person, to draw a line, and it gives you faith and guidance. The anchor and snake is a little bit different. It would normally suggest giving this another chance. I'm not so sure this is the right way to interpret this pair in this context. Instead, the anchor and snake is going to encourage you to stand your ground and protect yourself from this person here. So these are really strong cards, very supportive cards, and they're great to have in view of the top three cards. And again, you are encouraged to draw a line, Pisces, to say no or to change course and things like that and move on. Now, the cards don't really tell us if this is personal, work-related, or something else in your life, but the same dynamic would apply. Usually the snake in personal relationships is a bit more difficult because it brings out a toxicity that's a bit more personal. So in a personal relationship, we could be looking at a separation outright. But I have to also add, Pisces, that it's possible that there's a third party in the relationship because the snake is often the card of cheating. Now, I have to say that if that's the case, if you're in a love triangle, this might be a really great spread. Really, because a snake and scythe can mean that they go away, so that the triangle falls apart. One party leaves and the other two are potentially saved in their relationship. That's possible. It's a bit more specific, but it's possible. Otherwise, we are looking at the snake and scythe as being quite challenging here. And in other contexts, the same thing apply if this is a colleague or someone you work for or a customer or someone who offers you service, whoever it may be in your life specifically. Pisces, the snake and scythe is very clear that you're not aligned and you have to make a break, and also that you don't want distractions. You want to keep focusing on what you're doing here, and you've got everything it takes to draw a line and create hard boundaries around this person or other people. So let me know in what situation this figured for you, Pisces. I am very curious. I hope you resonate with the positive aspect here that, empower you to create these healthy boundaries. But let me know how you resonated with the cards and what happened for you at the end of the day. Very best of luck with this. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself.